Greetings, my brothers and sisters. How you doing out there? It's a joy to be back again to speak to you, folks around the world. And before I go on, I'd like to say thank you for your comments and for your subscriptions and for your shares and for your likes thus far. You're in tune to Christy B. Motep here. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click the bell for notifications of our latest videos. You can actually go through the archive. I've got a lot of videos out there, so you can go through them in your own time. And so subscribe, click the bell for notifications, share and like, and leave your comments down below. And we've got a show here today. We lost the late great Toots Hibbert of Toots and Maytals last week Friday, and I'm here to give you. I was going to give a top 10. And I said I can't give a top 10. Then I was going to give a top 20. And I said top 20 might be a bit steep. But I put it somewhere in the middle. And I'm going to give you a top 14. Toots and Maytals, my favourite songs from the Toots and the Maytals. My top 14 songs from the Toots and the Maytals. And it's been very, very hard, as you can imagine, to compile a list. So many songs that he's done over the last 60 years since he's been in the business. And we sadly lost him last week Friday to effects of the coronavirus 77, and he was going to tour over here in the UK, which is going to be his farewell tour, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. It never happened. But without much ado, let's get into the top 14. My top 14 Toots and the Maytals songs. You might have a different top 14 or a different top 10 or a different top 20 or your favorite songs, and at the end of the video I'll ask you to leave your suggestions in the comments and leave your top 14 or your top 10 Toots and the Maytals songs. So number 14, we're going to start from the bottom and we're going to work our way up to the top. So number 14 is Never You Change. This time they were called the Maytals, and they recorded this song in 1964 for the great Byron Lee, who was a great guitarist. And Never You Change is a wonderful song, and it's a haunting song with Riley Gordon and Jerry Mathis, who were back in Toots at that time. The Maytals were the Maytals, and lead vocals. And Never You Change, Never You Change. It's just a wonderful, wonderful harmonizing song. And of course the great Toots Hibbert, the lead vocal. So Never You Change is at number 14. Number 13, it's Sweet and Dandy. Sweet and Dandy was actually a festival song winner for the Maytals in 1969. If you remember that film, The Harder They Come, and that song was actually on the soundtrack to The Harder They Come. And of course the Maytals could be seen rehearsing the song in one of the scenes in the film. A great song produced by Leslie Kong, the Chinese Jamaican producer, who really gave many, many great artists a go at that time. Many great singers recorded for him, which we'll speak about another time. So number 13 is Sweet and Dandy. Number 12 is the only hit they had in the UK pop charts, Monkey Man, from 1970, another Leslie Kong production. And Monkey Man is just a fabulous song. It's a song that I hear a lot on commercial radio, and it's for me it's one of the most popular songs I think the Maytals ever did, because I go to a lot of places, some places I played that at, and just when you're going to rave and you're going to party, and when the DJs go to the Back in Time segment, this is one of the most popular songs I have ever heard, the Monkey Man. Of course, this time they were called Toots and the Maytals. This was 1970. So that's number 12. Number 11 is an obscure song of theirs called Walk With Love. It's a song that I've not heard for a very long time, but I remember in the 90s I used to hear this song quite a lot on the radio stations, especially the radio stations in the black Caribbean communities. And this song was played a lot, but I don't hear it very much now. I've got this song in my own collection, but it's a song that I really love. And all of these songs, by the way, you can go on YouTube and see for yourself and see if you like them, if you've not heard them before. And it's a song that I really highly recommend. It's a beautiful, beautiful song, Walk With Love. And of course the message is in the song, is in the title as well, Walk With Love. So that's number 11. Number 10 is Broadway Jungle. Now the Maytals did two versions of this. The first version they did for Prince Buster, which was a ska version. I love that version as well. But they also did a second version for Byron Lee around 1968 for Byron Lee. So the Broadway Jungle. But I like both versions. I really do like both versions. I like both the ska version for Prince Buster, and I like the version they later did as well. I think it was for Byron Lee. It could have been for Leslie Kong, but I think it was for Byron Lee. And so that's number 10, Broadway Jungle. Number 9, the very first festival song winner in 1966, because the Jamaicans started their festival, which really marked independence, in August. And this is so every year annually they've always had a festival song contest. Of course, in 1962, when they first became independent, they never had a festival song contest, and they never started until 66, 4 years later. And then the Maytals scored the very first festival song winner with Bam Bam in 1966, and that's number 9. And Bam Bam has been often versioned many times for the younger audience, and for the contemporary audience. Bam Bam was also covered by Shakademus and Pliers, and they turned it into Murder She Wrote using a punchline to the song. Pliers also did a vocal version, a solo version as well, and the Maytals and Toots has covered it many times. Since 1966, he did it again, Bam Bam, in the 70s, and they did it again in the 80s. And he said that it's a song like every single decade somebody's either covered it and made it into a hit, or he's covered it and made it into a hit. Then I say hit, not for saying the charts, but hit popularity amongst audiences and so on. So Bam Bam is number 9 on the list. Number 8 for me is one of his signature songs, 5446. In 1967, Toots went to prison for possession of marijuana, and he was in prison for 12 months. He originally was sentenced to 18 months, but he only did 12 months. And then when he came out, there's actually 2 songs. When he came out, he did 5446, That's My Number. Because currently at that time, then for Leslie Kong in 1968, then 2 years later in 1970 he did another version called That's My Number, or Was My Number. So 5446 Was My Number. So 2 years later it changed from That's My Number to Was My Number. I love both versions, I must say, but I love the Rocksteady version, the 68 version, probably a bit better, because I just love the punchline to that song, and I love Rocksteady anyway. I love reggae, because the 1970 version was a reggae version. But I love both versions. So that's number 8 on the list, 5446. Number 7 is another obscure song that I've not heard for a long time, called Louie Louie. I remember first hearing this song about 20 years ago on one of the radio stations in the black community, Louie Louie. And I thought, wow. Then when the announcer said, oh, that's another song by the Toots and the Maytals, Louie Louie, I said, oh, it's Toots. Yeah. I thought it was somebody. I thought maybe it was Eddie Grant or another, act or something. But it was actually the Toots and the Maytals, and it's a song that I found very hard to locate, and I've been looking everywhere. But I've got it, and yeah, Louie Louie's number 7 on the list. It's one of the songs I said which is more obscure in their catalogue, but you don't really find many people playing it. Only the real connoisseurs will play that, and the ones that are really deep into reggae will play that song. Number 6, a very defining song, Duver Reggae. Now, when this song came out in 1968, they were saying that it's the very first song to coin the word reggae. At that time, it was spelled R-E-G-G-A-Y, and now it's spelled R-E-G-G-A-E. And that was going to be the name of the new genre, the new dance, which struck Jamaica after Rocksteady. So in 1968, they were saying that they were calling this new beat. They never knew what to call it at first, because they were saying that we couldn't call it streggae. But streggae was a word for a derogatory word or term for prostitute. So they said, we can't call this new beat streggae. We have to call it something. And then Toots said he was in the studio one day with some friends jamming. Then he said that, come on, let's do the reggae. And then they said, after that, the word just stuck. But Cancer Echoes has a song, Don't Brag, Don't Boast, Got My Boogaloo. He says, there's a line in the song where he coins the word reggae. He said, I'm the king of this reggae beat. So it's between Toots and Cancer Echoes who first came up with the word. But I actually think it was Toots, because that's where a lot of people are pointing and heading to. They're saying that a lot of the historians and some of the musicians who were playing at that time and observers were saying that Toots was the first one to do it. And so I believe it was Toots. So I think the voters won, the majority have won. So I'm going to go for Toots. But Do the Reggae is number 6 on the list. Number 5 is a song I first heard in 1997, 1998. But it was actually done in 1964, produced by the great Byron Lee. there's a ballad where talks about, you know, his daddy. And it's a song that you don't really hear very often, and it's also a term because you don't really hear songs a lot talking about, you know, the father. You mostly hear songs talking about the mother and so on. But this is a very, very groundbreaking song in my opinion, because it's one of the very first songs I've heard complimenting the father, you see. As I said, you normally hear songs about complimenting the mother, which is true, because normally the mother is what's left of to look after the children while the father goes away, or and so on. But so this is a beautiful song. It's very, very touching. Whenever I play this song or hear this song, I always think about my father, you see. So it's a beautiful song. Daddy's number 5 on the list. Number 4 on the list is 6 and 7 Books of Moses, one of the very first songs that the Maytals recorded for Studio One. Coxsone died in 1962. 6 and 7 Books of Moses, of course, relating to the Bible, because, you know, the first 6 and 7 books in the Bible was written by Moses. And so the Maytals were very, very gospel tinged as well, and very, very heavily gospel influenced. Just like Justin Hines and the Dominoes over at Treasure Isle, the rival studio to Studio One. And so the Toots and the Maytals took it upon themselves to, you know, write songs around biblical themes. So this is one of them here. It's a ska number, very, very early ska number, 1962 obviously. And whenever I go out to oldies raves and dances in general, whenever they come to the revival and the oldie classic segment, you know, this song is played very, very highly. I mean, I played it many times on radio when I played out, so it's a popular song. So number 4 is 6 and 7 Books of Moses. Some places have it down as 6th and 7th Book of Moses. Some have it down as 6 and 7 Books of Moses. It's all down to interpretation. Number 3 is Pomp and Pride. You know, a classic number from 1972. The 3rd festival song winner, of course. You know, after Sweet and Dandy in 1969, of course, originally Bam Bam in 1966. This was 1972. Pomp and Pride, you know, and the Maytals scored another festival song winner of this song here, and I love the song so much. It's a song I hear quite a lot actually. Very popular song done by this time they were called Toots and the Maytals. After 1970, they became known as Toots and the Maytals. So no longer the Maytals, now Toots and the Maytals. In the early times, they were called the Vikings, but in actual fact, they weren't actually. It was actually a band back in the Maytals were called the Vikings, and Toots said that various other producers call them the Flames as well, another name. So some of their titles might have the Flames on it, but it's not actually, it's the Maytals, but they were just given that title because of label hopping and because of royalties and so on. So it's kind of all complicated, and one of these days I'll have to explain it to you another time and break it down for you. So number 3 is Pomp and Pride, their 3rd festival song winner in 1972. Number 2 is Johnny Coolman, another obscure song by the Maytals. Excuse me. I remember first hearing this song about 20 years ago. I bought a compilation from a friend of mine, and it's I think it's a compilation on Attack Records called Toots and the Maytals 66, or it's Pressure Drop, I think was the name of the actual title, 1966 to 1970. So I had all their big hits and one or two obscurities from 66 to 70. And this song was on there, Johnny Coolman, 1971 recording, produced by the great Leslie Kong. In actual fact, unfortunately, that was the same year that Leslie Kong passed away in 1971. But this song was a classic number, Johnny Coolman. And I just love Toots' wonderful gospel tinged voice, soulful tinged voice, which leads the number. Beautiful, beautiful. And so Johnny Coolman is number 2 on the list. It's been very hard, as I said to you, brothers and sisters. It's been very, very hard to compile a list. As I said, I had to between 20, then I went to 10. And I said, nah, let's go for 14. And so all that way now, so now we're at number 1 now. So what could number 1 be? Should we do that drum roll? Leading up to number 1. So number 1 for me is Pressure Drop. Yeah. Yeah. Is it you? Oh yeah. Is it you? Oh yeah. I said pressure drop, gonna drop on you. Oh, bother with that. Yeah, but Pressure Drop is my number one. It's in The Harder They Come as well, Pressure Drop. Sweet and Dandy was in The Harder They Come, and this was in Harder They Come as well, Pressure Drop, 1970 recording. Possibly my favourite Maytals song, Toots and the Maytals song of all time. I could have done another 20. Maybe one of these days down the line we'll do some more. But wow, 14 songs. I mean, I missed out some classics. No, I missed out Alan Ida. I missed out Bim Today, Bam Tomorrow. I missed out so many songs. I can't even remember some of them, but there's so many songs I missed out. Reggae Got Soul, Funky Kingston, and there's many others I've missed out. But that's my top 10, Toots and the Maytals. So Pressure Drop is at number 1. So brothers and sisters, it's been brilliant. It's been wonderful. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Click on the bell for notifications of our latest up and coming videos. Also, scroll down and check out our other videos. We've done a lot of videos. We've done about 85 videos or something like that thus far. And please subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends, spread the word about us. You know, we don't just talk about reggae music. We talk about music in general. We talk about ancient Kemetic systems and general topics. We're going to mix it up because we can't just be pigeonholed into one very topic. And I've got a lot of topics I can speak about. So thanks for your attention, and once again, big up and bless up, and we salute the legendary, late and great Mr. Toots himself. Bless up. Thank you.